sure that they needed like heavy mobility since they have a Yuzong who's able to go in for the backline, deal with whoever who's there. So the Akai is a better choice since they could use a frontliner. Considering that here we go, ladies and gentlemen, the decider game between RSGMY, YOODO Red Giants, and we're gonna start it off with as expected. Yums is going to go deep inside to try to stop Vinogo from getting his buffs.
And here we go. There's going to be a lot of pressure. Yusuke has to flicker away and will manage to actually survive to tell the tale. A very risky attempt coming in from this Hilda. Like you did say, it's going to be a very heavy commitment in order for them to stop any form of a progress happening in the jungle for Vinogo. So I guess this formula might just actually work out, but it is something that we are not used to seeing coming out of Yumski, but he is very willing to just be that pesky type of roamer to continuously do chunks against the rest of RSG.
But you know, that is why Storm, he uses the Cho. So at least you have like good mobility with the Cho, and also Cho normally will go for a tank build. So that is kind of like the security guard for RSGMY to try to stop Yums from invading the jungle as much. Now, that is why I guess that Yums is not able to go in as deep because of that Cho, and we can see how Cho traded his health to try to stop Yums. But now without Cho, Cho is currently on the top side of the map, and look at where Yums' position is at. He's trying to sniff out where Vinogo is at and try to stop him from doing Vinogo stuff.
And immediately pouncing onto Bornzy, and that actually forces a very early flicker. So already giving a little bit more advantage as well as leeway into the turtle pit. Though Stormski is around the corner, will be doing exactly the same job as what Yumski did to them. Though they are absolutely outnumbered, therefore RSGMY, they funnel their resources over the top end of the turret, and this will be an exchange that will go down. Oh. And it's first blood instead for Lolio.
Wow, okay. There must be the stack of damage dished out at the top lane. Now Yum's surrounded by 3 players by RSGMY, but he is a Hilda, so he should be able to get away easy, and they're not going to go full commit onto him. But considering that the first blood was onto Super Civ, so I guess he's going to provide a little bit more protection to the goal later.
Indeed it will. Just doing a little bit of scouting duty. Already spotted 3 members out of YOODO Red Giants. No harm for Snowski for the time being. Izanami should be joining the fray as well. Gotta be very careful on where they step, and look at the output by Yumski already chunking them down, forcing them to go in for the recall. Meanwhile, the rest of YOODO Red Giants, they have 4 members over the top, and they're gonna go for a 2 against 1. Black Dragon form being forced out. Meanwhile, the huge damage numbers onto Stormzy not being able to burst him down just yet.
Ooh, very, very defensive play by RSGMY. And can you fault them? Well, not really, because right now they are leaving this 50-50 still. Probably waiting for the first turtle to go up, and then that's where they will start to be in action. But now Yums going in with the jungle invade onto the purple buff. He is all alone. His teammates Lolias on the other side. Lolias comes in to get back up. So all time being called upon. Izanami goes back to full health. And looks like the purple buff been stolen away by Skies.
Yeah, that's a little bit too much of a pressure being caused by the Hilda. Yumski doing an excellent job so far. Not even faltering in some of all these very, very risky attempts, especially the initial one back in the first purple. Now, on the second attempt, they are finally successful in stealing 1 buff away to deny Lancelot a little bit more of that EXP at the very least. So still got an orange buff, but Yumski is already on duty this time around, drawn by the XP later. I don't think he will survive to tell the tale. Can he steal it though? It will still falter, but there is Izanami now challenging the turtle as well. So giving 1 away for free. Let's see if they can get this one. Oh, Izanami steals it away.
Oh man, and they're not done yet with the fight though. Now the heavy spin comes in by Skies onto Vinogo, pinning him down. This is the answer to Lancelot, ladies and gentlemen. The heavy spin onto the wall, and they're not done yet. Izanami will be the next one to fall. Double kill will be given to Gorgeous. Triple kill onto Bonzi this time. Gorgeous, Prince Gorgeous, Maniac, ladies and gentlemen. The Prince has ascended the throne.
And that was, although delayed, but it was beautifully done by Gorgeous. 4 in a row, and he just absolutely had that whole control by the river, and there is just another feast for the eyes of the audience. Let's take a look at it once more.
And look at the Black Dragon form into the middle, but Gorgeous coming in at the right timing. And look at the amount of focus and the U-turn that came back. Skies was at the right moment, at the right time as well. And Gorgeous with that Maniac is just gorgeous indeed.
Yeah, we love to see it. It's not every single day that you actually get a Yuzong to get a Maniac so early in the game, because usually on the EXP lane, it can get a little bit more mundane. Now, they do get a pick over onto Yumski. Force the flicker away, and that was done rather swiftly as well. Though that wasn't exactly a full commitment coming from the side of RSG just yet, because the turtle is about to spawn in less than 30 seconds, and just to be specific, 15 from now. So the rest of YRG, they're just going to be keeping their eyes on whether if they can finally take one for their own, because the last one got stolen away. Now Yumski does not have flicker. They will just pile on top of this roamer. And Lolo once again add one more to the block. So this is a Brody just stacking up all of these resources, and now this is just a break wall that they're forming up. Crack their bomb a little bit too late, and now they will collide. RGMY just being very, very disciplined on their approach, knowing that they've already got the turtle. They don't really have to put on too much further, but they are also looking to see if they can crack down the second tier turret down bottom.
Yeah, look at the movement of Skies. I would assume that he is not ready with the items to sort of be that tanky frontliner. That's why he didn't really move in. He didn't really want to take that risk, so he had to let that turtle go to RSGMY. RSGMY right now, despite them being behind by 1 kill, but they have the slight goal advantage of about 1,000. Not too significant, I must say. Of course, there's a lot of opportunity to come back. But for Skies, he is hovering around, but they will not go all into him. I mean, at the end of the day, even though he's not as tanky as Yumski, but he's still tanky enough to not draw that attention.
That's right. Belt now online as well. So that's going to be the asteroid call revealing a majority of the members of RSGMY. But of course, no call to action just about yet. YOODO Giant is trying to recuperate, though surely they do have maybe just 1 extra kill. It's pretty much dead even for both sides, but no-go snatches the crap just in the nick of time. Of course, that requires them to now attend to a little bit more of a split pressure coming in from all ends. It's a 1-2-2 formation now being set up by the side of RSG. They're looking to deal blows onto the mid-side turret and just have a lot more wiggle room for Lancelot over the top side. But here we go.
Guys, goes in with a heavy spin, but it's more of like a defensive heavy spin. However, he used that in about 10 more seconds before the actual lot comes out. So now he's without a heavy spin, and RCMY, they know that, so that's why they're going in at this moment, and they will take advantage of Skies, who clearly doesn't have heavy spin, taken out of the map, and now with the lot up, Yums will need to be the big man in front.
Yeah, that was basically 2 ultimates expended right before the Lord, so they are heavily disadvantaged into the fight. There's no entry tool unless Prince Gorgeous forces his way in, but there's just no sign of Gorgeous across the board. They have to give this one to RSG.
And Venogo, okay, we haven't seen the best of Venogo just yet. I mean, only 1 kill so far. So let's see. He's still farming. He's still trying to secure the buffs before he's able to be in real action. But now that the Lord is out, the focus will be on the mid, just to buy time for the Lord to be in the right position before they push onto the first turret.
Yeah, this is going to be a very awkward scenario as well because the top side of the turret is so brittle. Do they really want to fully commit to defend that? Because mid side is pretty much under pressure right now. Stormski gets a beautiful kick of the Warrior Dragon, but that's not really the target that he desires. Black Dragon form once again used, but not having the ability to engage upon the rest of RSG. Now they've escorted Lord, and this is where they finally opens up a pick against Borgsy, and the fight erupts. Izanami will chill out the Cult Altar in a moment's time, but it will be Vinogo that gets clipped off by the Hurricane, and Izanami, he's got to make his way to safety. They did get themselves another turret with the help of the Lord, and opens up mid.
Yeah, they open up with the Lord just at the doorstep of a YOODO Red Giants, and with that YOODO Red Giants will lose 2 turrets, one in the middle, the second one at the top. So this will open up a little bit more space for RGMY to jungle invade moving forward. And now, looking over at the items, looks like for RGMY, without the Dom Ice, they're just not bothered about the tankiness of, say, Yooms, or they're not even bothered about the tankiness of Sky G dropping the ball as well if they're not careful.
Yeah, YOODO Red Giants, they've been able to look for those form of pickoff, but the longer this game progresses, we also have to remember, like you said, Lolil is going to eventually hit that hyper scaling where nobody's going to be able to touch him without getting chunked out. So this is basically the catch-22 situation here. Like, how fast can YOODO Red Giants go? But at the same time, when you go fast, can you ensure that you can actually win those form of team fights? And it's not just one person that they really have to deal with. Other than Vinogo, sure, they catch Vinogo twice, as well as Bonzi a couple of times, but ultimately, the backline remains to be safe, and this player here, Lolils, he will be having a lot of wiggle room to actually melt down all these members of YOODO Red Giants, whether they're tanky or not.
Now, YOODO Red Giants, they need to be aware of something. Early on, if you remember, 2 outs expanded just before the Lord came out. So, I guess the intention was to save Gorgeous, but then the moment they expanded 2 outs, RGMY, they know that that's their opportunity. So, this is something that YOODO Red Giants will need to be careful of, not to expand all these valuable skills when the objective comes out. And now, speaking of objective, it is out, and everyone has their own outs.
True enough, especially Gorgeous does have basically all the tools necessary. Here comes the Black Dragon form. They are going to crash right through mid. Cult out there now open up. They will still get their HP bars set back up. And Stormski, he will be able to find one, but the Harkin Dance is already hitting onto majority members. No follow-up whatsoever. Too deep of a dive. Damage done onto the side of YOODO Red Giants, taking down 2.
Ooh, man. I mean, the turret was still up, though. So basically, YOODO Red Giants, they were fighting underneath the turret. And like what you mentioned, Izanami still has his ult. So the moment he pops it up and they're underneath the turret, it's an easy U-turn for RGMY.
Yeah, like this, having the perfect setup for RGMY delivered at their doorstep. Now, another Lord being lost out by YOODO Red Giants. Flickers away. Zach Cutie tries to escape, but that really puts him in a very passive role at the moment on this Novaria. So things are not really working as well as YOODO Red Giants have hoped for.
Oh, man. If only they didn't, like, make that overextension, or if they had the comms to say that, hey, you know what? Faramir still has the ult, so let's not go in for it. Then that would probably be a different result. At least they would like dance for the Lord, like make it 50-50. But the moment they did that, then it was a straightforward counter by RSGMY. And now, YOODO Red Giants, they have to deal with the Lord at the top lane. And also, because of that, they're losing the map control to RSG.
Yeah, and I'm also looking at another factor here for YOODO Red Giants. They don't really have that burst damage that's clearly enough to actually take somebody down before, you know, the Cult out there channels out over True. But top side, RGMY is looking to crack open the base. That's all that they are looking for. We did spot out the Akai, not that they want to actually engage on them. That could have actually been a good moment for them to actually go in for a pin to the wall, but still a little bit of a risky move, especially with so much of all these minions cutting right through. So, Hornsey now getting sniped, but there is a goal sign for the rest of YRG to eventually look for Stormski, but that's just one. They still have more fish to fry.
Yeah, Stormski bought time at the top lane. However, no return on the mid lane or on the bottom lane. So sacrifice was a little bit in vain. But that would open up opportunity for YOODO Red Giants now to take down the mid turret. They are looking at that and they need to take that down in order to open up the map a little bit more. As Vinogo arrives straight onto Skies, but it's just going to be a tickle there as he don't intend to go all in yet.
Yeah. RGMY, they just have the power to just clear these waves very, very efficiently, especially with the Brody being around. Izanami, he's just going to be getting a little bit more face check done. YOODO Red Giants, I'm just looking at the damage numbers, right? It really feels like Skies didn't feel all too comfortable playing a tank jungler, if that's ever the case, where it's just a little bit lacking, and you're relying on Zach Cutie and Prince Gorgeous right now alongside with Civ. It's going to take a long time before you get this Bruno to be pretty efficient in some of all these team fights, and even in those extended trades, they need to ensure that they remain to be safe. It's really, really hard to do so, especially with Stormski around.
Oh yeah, because he is a solid frontliner, and by this time, his items must be stacked up. But speaking about stacking up, hopefully he's stacked up for this fight now at the Lord Pit, as both teams now circling around. But look at this, Vinogo is still all the way up there, so that's a sign that RGMY will go in, but the way the dragon comes out to Yumski, the Black Dragon form will fly in as well. Yumski flickers away, but look who's there, it's gonna be Bonzi! Flickering all the way to Black Line to secure that kill, but at the same time, Vinogo! He's going in for it, but there's no minutes for him to finish up the job!
Oh, he almost got it in the back as well. The rest of YOODO Red Giants have managed to snip out the backdoor attempt, but clearly that was a risk. From the get-go, he has been spending so much time over the top side, and of course, it does smell a little bit fishy from the side of RGMY, where YOODO Red Giants didn't really spot the Lancelot in any of these fights. It's great measures that they actually pulled back, and they did try to defend Zach Cutie in that form of position as well, and just about enough time for them to at least attend to that push.
Yeah, that was close enough though. Like what you said, right? It was like games that do not see Vinogo on the map, and all of a sudden he shows up at top, and immediately they go back instead of committing all in onto the Lord instead, because they know the potential of backdooring. And now we're back to 50-50 with Yums back in the fray, but this time it's going to be Storm shooing him, zoning him out. The Black Dragon form will be called upon, and we can see that Gorgeous goes in straight onto the backline, but the call out has been called out upon as well, and Zach Cutie will be taken down. Going in straight onto the backline, but no go is that to shut down Gorgeous. Looking for more. Next is going to be Skies.
And the problem right now is they really don't have enough damage. They get the perfect catches, but what then? There's just not enough birds to take them all down. That cult outer by Izanami, giving them more time, more space. They're looking for the final blow onto Yumski. Yumski survives, but all the members of RSGMY is alive, and they are knocking down the doors of YOODO Red Giants. And the wave is here. They will eventually break it all down. RSGMY reverse sweeps YOODO Red Giants.
My, oh my. After a round number one, it was so heavily siding